All right, everybody. I am here with Colin Murr, who is a writer who was one of the people that first introduced me to Tim Burton's Hansel and Gretel. If you haven't heard of that, there's a good reason for that. Colin, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of jump into Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, sure. I am a writer and blogger. So mainly I like to work on fiction, but I also have a movie blog called Movie Matchup. It started as a blog where I would compare similar movies and TV specials, and then it just sort of became whatever I felt like writing about. And I was reviewing weird Halloween specials, and that's kind of how I found out about the Tim Burton Hansel and Gretel and reviewed that along with some other very strange Halloween specials from TV.
Yeah, and could you just explain a little bit of this film, when did it air, and can you, to the best of your ability, describe it?
Yeah. So Tim Burton was hired by Disney in the early 80s, and they were kind of at an intermittent period between their glory days after Walt Disney had died and before the Disney Renaissance. So they had Tim Burton on as one of the young animators. He did some concept art for Fox and the Hound and a couple others, but they never really used it, so they kind of felt bad because he was really outside the box. So they gave him a short to do, and then they gave him this. It was a Hansel and Gretel special for Halloween. It was a half-hour TV special. It aired once on Disney Channel on Halloween night at, I think, 10:30 p.m. Never aired again. It was lost for years. People even thought, oh, maybe they didn't actually air. I just dreamed that. And then it was discovered, aired at a film festival a few years ago, and then it surfaced on YouTube just a few years ago.
Yeah, and was it that they didn't air it again because weren't there possible complaints from parents that it was creeping their kids out too much?
Yeah, that's what I've seen, is that it was just a bit too out there. I don't even think it's as much outright scary as it is just too bizarre.
And so how do we have the ability to see it on YouTube? Because it's kind of interesting, and kind of the connection to the Star Wars holiday special and how we're able to see that.
Yeah, it's basically, it was thought of as lost media for a while, and then I guess someone found a recording of it. It's not the whole recording, because the original special aired with an introduction from Vincent Price, who was a friend of Tim Burton. They haven't found that introduction. I think it aired at a museum somewhere, so you can see someone recorded a bit of it. Just it's standing in front of a screen, and that's all we have of that introduction, sadly. We're still hoping the whole thing surfaces someday.
To say this film looks like it was made for $20 minus 18 would kind of be an understatement. And it's surprising if this is one of their key things for Halloween night for the Disney Channel. I mean, this thing is beyond cheap looking.
Yeah, it's very school play feeling. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think if they're really hoping it works on Disney Channel on Halloween night, they're gonna really go all out with the budget, but they did not.
And to be clear for anybody who isn't quite sure, this is before Batman, even before Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice. He is just an animator at this time. And honestly, if I saw this, I would have said that this Tim Burton guy's got no future in this business, and then he ends up being Tim Burton, which
apparently it was his next special. I think it was Frankenweenie that Disney didn't like, and they fired him for it. But Paul Rubens saw it, and that got Tim Burton hired for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes, that's what got him going.
But you can see a lot of the early shades of Tim Burton in this, piece, a lot of his type of imagery that you would see later in Batman Returns and other things. But you also, I think that the first sight of a sandworm from Beetlejuice is in this thing. So he did repeat a lot of his old tricks.
Oh yeah, all that German expressionism inspired stuff that, like you said, Batman Returns especially is really here. And he liked working with bizarre sets and even limited sets on Batman Returns. He still makes it work here. It's just kind of a unique design.
Yeah, and it feels like you need to kind of be slowly put on the train to Tim Burton. Beetlejuice was good because that was, you knew what it was going to be, and it was a PG-13 movie. For Disney special, Halloween special, it is odd that they gave him full carte blanche to go full Tim when nobody knew what to expect from him.
Yeah, it's weird that he probably didn't get the unlimited budget, but he got the unlimited rights to just do whatever he wants. I mean, I guess it was 10/30, so they weren't aiming towards super little kids, but
right.
Yeah.
On top of having no budget, it's really, really bad. It's bizarre and bad. And it's strange that the guy who made Ed Wood and Edward Scissorhands like would be behind something like this.
Yeah, it's not one take, but it felt like they didn't do a lot of second and third takes. Like they just shot it like a play. It's mostly just on the same set, I think, except for that one scene where Hansel's in the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think it's all on one very tiny set. I don't think he had a lot to work with.
Yeah, was he going for a play motif? Because like the walls are barren and, and obviously the woods are just the wall painted. Yeah. Like,
it's the forest that got me especially like, oh, he's got nothing here. It's just, it's like build a set in 5 minutes. When they see the house for the first time, maybe it's a painting or something. Or it's a different set, but there's not too many different sets here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he did what he could with a budget that probably couldn't be any more than 3 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a decimal.
Yeah. And it's strange because when I saw this on YouTube, Vincent, one of his shorts, played right before this.
Right.
And there you get a sense of, wow, this guy is fantastic. And there's like a lot of heart and soul and money and production value put behind that. And then this comes on after it? That just seems odd.
Yeah, it strikes me as Disney saying, we get you're talented, but we don't really like you. So here, take this, just do something.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna really plug it much or give you much to work with.
So I do find it odd, that Disney decided to air it, but I mean, I guess it was probably handed in near the time for production. They didn't have anything else to replace it with, but I'm surprised that, the execs over at Disney sat down and watched this and said, oh yeah, this will be great.
It only could have been in the 80s, because if you think about their time, then they were doing like Something Wicked This Way Comes and The Black Hole and The Black Cauldron, really dark stuff. There are multiple Disney films from the 70s and 80s that have scenes in the pits of hell.
Yeah.
So I think if it had been the 90s or the 70s, no way. But if it was late 70s, early 80s, only time this could have aired.
And it does seem odd though that the 80s was a little bit more still conservative, but a little bit more open there at Disney. Like Tim Burton just seems like he is just the odd man out there.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
They ever got to be working together.
No.
What are some of your thoughts on this special in terms of like where does it rank in terms of bizarre or bad or and anywhere in between?
I think when I originally watched it, I watched a few different Halloween specials. This was definitely the weirdest. And yeah, that includes an acid-fueled Grinch special, so remains the strangest one I've seen. And like I said, it's scary in a way, but it's just so out there. From the voices of the witch to the fact that they had a man playing this mother/witch.
No, you will not.
So, you take their side against mine. Am I their mother or aren't I? Who besides me will bother to teach them their table manners?
I don't mind the mother and the witch being played by the same actor, because that happens in a lot of the stories. That's implied they're the same person. So that kind of makes sense, but just the way it was portrayed was like she's dressed in the most stereotypical witch costume ever. It's like, I wonder if that's a witch.
Yeah. And I can't decide whether Tim actually put some heart into this and it just didn't pan out, or if he just didn't care and it was just something that was an opportunity and didn't want to waste it.
There's so many Burtonisms in there that I feel like he did put some of himself into it. Like there's that opening sequence with all the toys going off. Yeah. Which kind of felt like the Geppetto's workshop from Pinocchio, but it felt like Burton showing off a bit with all the different stop motion things he'd made.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just the first few minutes. So I feel like there was some heart in it, but other parts are definitely phoned in.
And would this be one of his first live action things that he did? I mean, obviously there is animation in there too, but I feel that this would be one of the first times he would actually be behind the camera with actual actors.
Yeah, I don't think he had worked in live action before this.
Thank God for Frankenweenie got Paul Rubens' attention. or who knows where Tim would be today. Yeah.
Yeah, Frankenweenie and the friendship with Vincent Price got him kicked off because this wasn't helping him at all.
So I think that kind of tackles the odyssey of Hansel and Gretel. So for anybody out there, check it out on YouTube. It's thankfully it's sometimes gets a little laborious to watch, but it's not long. And if you want to see the beginnings of Tim Burton, this is where it all started, so to speak. And Vincent's definitely worth watching. So
yeah, Vincent's worth watching, and Frankenweenie's worth watching. This is, if you're intrigued by Tim Burton, absolutely.
or if you just like really bad stuff, you know.
yeah.
So Colin, where can people find some of your writings online?
Yeah, so my website that I reviewed this on and other things is colinwatchesmovies.wordpress.com. That's 2 L's in Colin. Also, my YouTube channel is just Colin Murr. That is where I upload episodes of my game show that I host every week. So that's a little bit different, but that's called Lie, Cheat, and Steal. I host that every week. There's all the information on that. And then I'm working on getting some writing out there in terms of novels, but nothing's been published yet, sadly.
Excellent. Well, I'll make sure to get those in the show notes here, and I'll splash them across the bottom of the screen and everything. But yeah, Colin, thanks so much for coming on and just talking about this little hidden, forgotten treasure that is.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
The Disney Channel wishes you a wonderful tomorrow. And remember, you always have a place to turn to. Your family place. The Disney Channel. And now, good night.